And the first one is taking us to Bawku in the Upper East region. Eno.
Members of Parliament from the Kusang traditional area in the Upper East region are demanding an immediate interdiction of 3 police personnel for their alleged involvement in the killing of 37-year-old Isahaku Abdullahi.
Let's go on the phone lines and speak to the Member of Parliament for Bawku Central, mahama Ayariga, who is part of this particular delegation. Honorable, you're welcome to Eyewitness News. Tell us first of all of the makeup of this delegation of MPs that went to Bawku.
Good evening, Morris, and good evening to your listeners. It is the members of Parliament representing the constituencies that make up the Kusasi traditional area, and that is Garu, Timpani, Pusga, Bawku, Binduri, and then Zebila.
Okay, you have all MPs in the Upper East region being NDC MPs except one. That would be Binduri, correct?
Yes.
So the Binduri MPP MP was part of your delegation?
Yes, he's been part of the delegation throughout. He's part of every deliberation that we have in relation to Bawku, so we don't discriminate along party lines. We work together.
So a total of how many MPs?
6 of us.
Were you going on assignment from the House of Parliament, or this was something you decided as a regional caucus to do?
We decided as a caucus, but then we consulted with our leadership in Parliament, and we informed the government. We informed the Interior Minister, we informed the Defense Minister, and so the ministers are aware that we were embarking on this, and they facilitated. They called the various service commanders and then asked them to cooperate with us. They called the regional minister, who made the RegSec available to us, and then they subsequently called the municipal security committees and all the service commanders on the ground to open up and tell us exactly what happened. So we got the full cooperation of the government, we got the full cooperation of the security agencies.
Let me just be sure. You have more than 6 constituencies in Upper East region. What happened to the other MPs? Or you chose a specific enclave of MPs to attend this or to go on this voyage?
Well, we informed the others that were going, and then we went. So I don't think there's a problem with authority to go or anything of that sort. Is there a problem with the 6 of us going to an area that is our zone? I don't know why you are pursuing this line of argument.
Yes, the reason is that already there are claims that, and these are people who are critical of the situation, of course, people who are on one party to the conflict, who are saying that the MPs who went there are just Kusasi MPs. So I wanted you to explain the makeup of the delegation to possibly answer that question.
4 of us are Kusasis, 2 of us are not Kusasis, and so I don't know. Not all the MPs from that area are actually Kusasis. They are not Kusasis, but they were elected by Kusasis to be members of Parliament of the place. The MP for Tempan is not a Kusasi. It's a husband who is a late husband who is a Kusasi. The MP for Pusga is not a Kusasi. So I don't think that it's about Kusasis. I mean, let's focus on the issues that we went to deal with and how we dealt with them.
I know. I'll let you do that. No, but you also do understand that this is a very slippery slope, and it's fair to just get the balance as much as we can. And if already there's absolutely no need for a balance. It's about what you are going there to do. There was a conflict between the security agencies and some communities, and then they cried out loudly. We all heard. Your media house carried the report about the security agencies and the communities having issues. So as members of Parliament for the area, we are not going to sit aside and allow the security agencies to have problems with the communities. They need the cooperation and support of the communities to be able to work. And we were the ones who demanded that the soldiers and the police should be sent there. So if they're on the ground and they're having problems, it is our duty as members of Parliament from the place to go there and then, iron out the issues so that we will leave an environment that is conducive for work for the security agencies that are there. That has nothing to do with ethnic issues. We didn't go there to resolve the ethnic issues between Kusasis and Mampushis. That was resolved long ago. I mean, the Supreme Court of Ghana has resolved that. PNC Law 75 has resolved that. If you disagree with those ones, you can go back to the Supreme Court and seek, closure. But there's closure to the matter. So we did not go there with the intention of getting involved in the ethnic issues between Kusasis and Mampushis, because so far as we are concerned, there's really nothing there to resolve, because it's resolved already. And the President, Nana Akufo-Addo, has been emphatic that the matter has been resolved by the Supreme Court, and he is standing by the decision of the Supreme Court. So we did not go there to dabble in ethnic matters. We were there because we've had complaints from the communities that the military and the police came and brutalized them. And then the military also reported that the youth in one of the communities fired at them and injured 3 of their men. So we needed to go and find exactly what happened and to see how we could iron out the issues between the communities and the security agencies. That was our limited mandate for going there.
Fair enough. So let's talk about some of the activities you engaged in. Did you have to meet with the security agencies? Did you have to meet with community leaders? Paint a picture for us of what you went to do, the exercise.
Yes, when we went, we first, some of us stopped in Tamale to see the Northern Sector Commander, Brigadier General Ai, and he gave us a briefing of what he knew. We also gave him a briefing on the issues and what we were going there to achieve. And then he also confirmed that he had signaled all his men on the ground to give us all the cooperation we needed. And they went to Bolga, and then the regional minister had also arranged for the entire regional security committee to meet with us and brief us on what they have done so far since November last year in relation to the conflict in Bawku, and then the recent developments that had, actually generated the furore that was the reason why we were there. And we got their fullest cooperation, after which they then arranged for some officers to follow us to the grounds, that is in Bawku. And we got there and were received by the Municipal Security Committee, who also then briefed us in terms of what they knew about the complaints of the communities, after which we went to the overlord of Kosak, Bokunaba, and we briefed him on our mission. And we tried to plead with him as the overlord of the area to take charge and make sure that peace prevails in the area. And then he wished us well and said we should go to the grounds and find exactly what happened. So we then proceeded to the various centers or theaters of agitation. One being the highways, which is the entry into Bawku Central Constituency, and some developing market there that the security agencies say should not happen. And they were trying to force the people out of that location. And we observed all that happened there. And then we went to Pusga, where the security agencies went and searched the palace of the Pusga Naba. And we listened to him, after which we apologized on behalf of the security agencies and pleaded with him to continue to cooperate and work with the security agencies for them to be able to help us restore law and order and peace in the area. And he accepted our apology. And then we continued to Buabula, the community where, a lot of the action really took place, where the soldiers alleged that civilians opened fire on them and injured 3 of their men. And we went there with the same soldiers. The soldiers were with us. The policemen were with us. And then the municipal chief executive was also with us. And we went to all the houses that were burned, vandalized, foodstuff burned, and we saw all the victims, those who were physically maimed and injured and beaten. And we took everybody's account of what they saw, what happened. We were in the community till late, about 8 p.m. We went to the homes of those who were killed, visited their widows and then their family members, after which we then went to the military camp and met with the soldiers and apologized to them for the attack from the community, but also urged them to maintain their composure and their professionalism and etc. and also made it clear to them that where there were excesses, as members of parliament, we also pointed out, and so they shouldn't take our pointing out excesses as non-appreciation of the sacrifices and the work that they are doing there. So we had a very good meeting. We left Bawku around 10 p.m. back to Bolga, and early this morning we had another very lengthy session with the Regional Security Committee from about 9 in the morning and closed around 2 to 3 p.m., where we debriefed them, and it was chaired by the regional minister. And then, we told them what we thought they needed to do to ensure that there was law and order and peace in Bawku. So that is generally an overview of our routine.
Was there any observation that you made, an observation that suggests there was a deliberate attack on any group of persons by any group of persons, or you were just, and I'm asking this because you went as a fact,
yes,
it was a fact-finding committee, so what facts did you come out with?
Well, there's no doubt that civilians opened fire on military personnel. Yes, that did happen. They shot at the soldiers. And we, were candid to point out to the youth in the community that under no circumstances is a citizen, civilian allowed to shoot at a soldier. But then also, the community has a history where in 2008, people who dressed in military camouflage got into the community in the night in a vehicle, and the youth thought that they were soldiers, so they ran away. Knowing very well that the soldiers will do nothing to their wives and their children because they are most likely looking for young people to arrest. So they ran away and left their wives and children. And apparently these people who were in camouflage were not soldiers. And so they slaughtered the wives and the children of several of them and killed them. And then went back. When they got back, that the people had killed their wives. And this is on record. And some of the military officers who are dealing with the situation in Bawku were in Bawku when this happened. So they are very, very aware of this development. So the youth said that because of this, sometimes, they are not sure whether it is really a soldier, and then they thought that if soldiers were coming to their community, they will come in their MOACs and their military vehicles, and then they will see that these are soldiers. But because they tried to go there at 4 a.m. in the dark, hours, they were not sure. And so, honestly, they, some of the youth, opened fire, and later on were prevailed on to withdraw. And that was what really happened. The military also explained that, they know about the history of the place, but then they were on a mission to cordon off the area just before the people woke up from bed around 4 a.m. So that by the time people wake up, they have surrounded the entire community so that they could carry out a search of the houses there to see harboring, arms there, and to retrieve those arms and arrest, people illegally possessing arms. So that was why they went at that time, and they went on foot, and they didn't go with their vehicles and etc. So clearly, it was an accident. Of course, I can never defend civilians holding, automatic rifles and even firing. And I pointed out very clearly to the youth there that that's something I can never defend. But then, whatever has happened, let's all put it behind us and understand that you should never fire at a military officer. And in any case, we invited the military there to come help protect us. So we needed to be more hospitable and to cooperate with them. Those were some of the key findings. But also it was clear that as a result of what the youth did, the military also got angry, and they moved in with their, men and vandalized some homes there, burnt some homes, burnt foodstuffs, burnt, motorbikes, burnt, tricycles, destroyed rooms. I mean, we saw everything. Beat up people, arrested, some of the young people who were indoors at home and didn't, run away. They did all that. And we visited some of the people that they detained, they arrested and sent to Bolgatanga, who have been remanded to in prison custody. So those are the facts. The military actually also vandalized the community, and they definitely did that, in anger and to retaliate for what the youth in the community did to them. And so we had to also talk to the military, appeal to them, appreciate their concern, apologize, but then also urge them to remain professional even in the face of provocation. So those were our major, areas of concentration. We tried as much as possible to avoid appearing as if we're going to Bawku to mediate between Osasis and Mampushis. Okay. We didn't want it to appear that way. We just wanted to concentrate on where there was a conflict between community and police and military. And we did not get any report from the Mampushi section that the military had come to vandalize them, to beat people, to kill. Because, 2 people died in the communities that we went. And they alleged that they died of bullet wounds resulting from soldiers actually killing them, or policemen killing them. I mean, these are very grave matters. And, we raised the issue of one Isaku that the wife and other bystanders said they saw the police drag him out of his house, and then they shot him and killed him. And we demanded that the 3 policemen that entered his house, and one of them dragged him out of his room, and we said that those 3 policemen must be interdicted, investigated, and prosecuted. And the police have actually started, because yesterday when we went to that house, the widow did indicate that the police had invited her to take her statement, and then his elder brother also confirmed that, yes, he was part of a team that went to the police on their invitation to give statement, and the officers are investigating exactly what happened.
So these findings you've gone to make and the demands you're making, beyond the local security, are you going to also make some specific demands of anybody in national capacity? I'm referring to people in the security sector, political sector, and so on.
Yes. We had very extensive discussions with the municipal security and then the regional security committees, and they also expressed their frustration because there were issues that they thought should have been handled properly by national level, which have not been handled properly. That has because whilst we were focusing on the issues for civil, military, police relations, the broader situation that they were dealing with, and they basically, agreed that a lot of it is provocation, misinformation taking place in the realm of social media and on radio stations. And they have sent reports to government, and government has failed to act on the recommendations that efforts should be made to stop the social media information and insults and the use of certain radio stations within the municipality to instigate insult and generally provoke, people into violent conduct. They complain bitterly that all their recommendations have not been, implemented, and that if government had actually taken all those measures that they have recommended should be taken, they believe that we probably would have been able to manage the situation better than that. And of course, they also appeal to us to, appeal to government to provide a lot more resources to make it easier for them to carry out their operations. I think that anybody who tells you there's a chieftaincy issue, well, we were very clear that so far as we are concerned, the chieftaincy issues have been resolved. The Supreme Court has ruled on the matter. If anybody doesn't agree with the Supreme Court, you go back to the court and then try and resolve it. What is left now is a simple question of enforcement of law and order. And then also, one issue that came up strongly is the fact that the Supreme Court has ruled, and yet, some people keep conducting themselves as if they are a rival traditional authority to the certain overlord of the precisely traditional area. And the fact that government hasn't done anything about the behavior and conduct of those people. And it is that offensive behavior that is creating the problems for the security agencies. And, we need to address those ones. We promised them that we'll send a report back to the National Security Minister, the Interior Minister, and then the Defense Minister, and see what they could do to deal with their concerns. including the IGP.
Finally, as a member of parliament representing the area, having gone there with your compatriots, unarmed members of parliament who are civilians, and remembering and knowing that even soldiers were attacked by armed civilians, how did it feel going through your homeland, knowing that you're just a bullet away? I mean, you could catch a bullet.
I mean, to be frank with you, I didn't need any security with me to go. I have my normal police bodyguard that Parliament has assigned to me. I can go anywhere in the